got the new album, Embrace the Unknown, is out in just a few days. It'll probably already be out by the time I actually pull my finger out and get this interview uploaded.
Yeah, awesome. I'm really excited for people to hear this whole record. Not that I have, I think, any particularly favorite song about the record. I think the record as a whole is just something I'm really happy about. So it's not like sometimes when you release the first couple singles of something that's could be a lot of the highlights, you know, and people might not get more. I think that when people hear the rest of this album, they're going to be even more excited, which is what I'm really happy about, especially the metal fans around the world. I think they're going to be happy when they hear this as a piece.
Absolutely. I mean, the first album was magnificent. You know, it was just pure heavy metal as heavy metal should be. You know, that's why I love that album. And when I saw the new ones out, I had the message Gary from Frontier straight away, like, hook me up, man. I want to speak to them. So where does the title Embrace the Unknown come from?
Well, actually, that came from the song title, and Fabio had written the lyrics for this record, which is something I wanted to happen, because on the first Spirits of Fire record, the very first songs, actually 4 songs, I'd written the entire song pretty much myself.
Okay.
And when we were coming to this, and when we found out Ripper was not going to be doing this record, I'd asked them that whoever was going to be doing the vocals for this record, I wanted the singer to do the writing of the lyrics and the melodies, because if I'm writing this kind of music and then I have to finish everything, it just, to me, starts to feel a little bit too much like I'm just making a solo record that somebody else is singing.
Absolutely.
So I was happy to have him do this. So, I mean, as far as what, you know, the meaning of specifically the lyrics are for anything on this record, it's funny that, you know, I'll read the titles and I'll read the song and I'll be able to get my own thoughts of what it means the same way you will, but the only person who's really going to be able to answer exactly what these are is Fabio, which is kind of cool, because when I look at these titles, I find things in them. I mean, even for just me, you know, with a second chance, it's like, you know, it was our second chance to do the record. As far as Embracing the Unknown goes, it's like people who had no idea who were singing on this record were embracing it unknown when it came out. When I actually got Fabio's first finalized versions of this record, and I had some finished mixes, I sent it to friends, and some of them were like you, people who have listened to thousands of singers and records, and nobody could guess it was him when they heard this. And that's the thing that I think was really awesome, because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, this style of what he's doing on this record is really not something that people had heard him do before. And he did it so well. He went into the character of being, you know, the singer for Spirits of Fire and the voice of this band in such a cool way. I'm so happy with his performance. And, you know, overall, this record to me is just a really fun listen front to back. I'll listen to this a lot more than I listen to other records that I've finished. A lot of times I'll finish an album, I'll listen to it once or twice. So it might be a song I like, or this one I'll listen to start to finish. And it's always a really fun listen for me, especially when I'm driving. It's a good driving album. It's a great record to drive to.
Cool. Well, I don't drive, so I'll have to listen to it on the bus, but I'm sure it'll have a similar effect. What makes this a different album than the debut? Obviously, there's the very obvious difference in vocalist. But musically, what's changed since Spirits of Fire?
Well, a few things have changed for this, actually, in the way that I did my tracks in particular. Like when we did the first record, obviously for this one, we were all separated. Just, you know, but the first record, we were separated that way too. Everybody was in their own part of the world doing their tracks. And I kind of think that, you know, and I know a lot of bands have said this, the pandemic sort of played into the advantage of people being able to have a little more time. So I think that helped. But I mean, for me, when I did my guitars for the first record, I was sending my tracks to Roy Z along with just the basic tempo loops or program drums ideas that I had just in a map, and that was it. And the final guitars went to him that way. And then Mark Zonder recorded his drums after that. And when I listened to a lot of the songs back when I got the final copies of the records or the final versions with the drums, I was like, oh wow, I would have liked to have changed the guitar a little bit to accent that beat a little bit more. Because, you know, Mark hears things a certain way and I hear things a certain way. Everybody hears, you know, a different straight four in their heads, basically. And Mark, being a more progressive drummer, sometimes he throws that 4 to a 3.8, you know. So it's like you get those little swings. So with this record, I said I want his drums. So I wrote the songs. I wrote this record too. I wrote all the music on. The last record, Roy had written a couple of the songs musically. This one, I really wanted to be the person who wrote. I co-wrote some stuff. I did one with Joel Hoekstra and one with my friend Lonnie Park, who did the piano stuff for the In the Rain song. You know, that was really beautiful. But I really wanted to just focus myself on finding a musical direction for this. But then I said, all right, I want the drums finished to the basic demos. And then I was getting Mark's drum stuff basically once, you know, sometimes once a week, some other times maybe 2 songs a week. But I had a tremendously large amount of time to sit there and kind of practice with him. So this record really has I think a more of a band feel to it for the idea that I was able to sit there and play my guitars along with the finished drums. And I rewrote a lot of my guitar parts to tie in with his feel and actually even some of his fills. So I was rewriting things. And then when Steve was getting the tracks, he was getting the completed tracks of my guitars to those drums. And he was able to put his part in and just fill the wall up. And I think that his bass is so amazing on this record. Not that it wasn't on the last one, but I think as a whole, I think this one sounds more like a band than the last one. I really do. I think this just really has a distinct sound to it and a feel to it. And I think all around, for me, I think that makes this, in my personal opinion, a better record all the way around, because I think we just really nailed something with this. And then Fabio is a very, very, very good writer, and he just put some really great lyrics and melodies and things on top of this. So I think, you know, as a whole, I think this record just goes to a different place, and it's very consistent though. Like, it all definitely fits together, but everything is got its own personality. And I don't really think there's any one single song that I could say, you know, falls into this record as something that people won't like. I think every song has got a really good personality to it and a really good thing. I mean, a lot of times you listen to a record and be like, yeah, I like these 7 songs and these other 3 I could care less. I think this record has a strong feel from it from top to bottom.
Absolutely. And I think that really sort of shines through just on the songs that have been released so far. Obviously, you've done 2 videos and you've also released the title track as like a visualizer. And it's fantastic, you know, because a lot of the times when you get such esteemed and skilled musicians together, it looks great on paper, but it doesn't always gel. But with Spirits of Fire, these, like, if you were putting together your dream metal band, you'd pick players of this caliber, you know. I'll get my nose out of your ass now.
It's okay. Those other 3 guys are awesome. No, I'm lucky to play with them.
But as for Fabio himself, obviously you split with Ripper. What was it that made you feel Fabio would be the best option? Obviously, he is very talented and everything, but I'm sure you could have had your pick of vocalists all around the world.
You know, it's funny. That was Frontier's idea. We all came up with the list when Ripper, for whatever reason, and I don't even answer this question, Ripper and Frontiers decided not to work together on this record. And, you know, they came to me and said, well, do you want to still do the record? I'm like, yeah, I want to do the record. And I know a lot of reasons. I mean, number one, I haven't been able to do a second Dr. Butcher record in over close to 30 years. So I liked having Spirits of Fire. For me, it was like my little heavy metal fun band. I could write metal and and that's why I I found the art for the first record. I'm like, we're going to have this guy like Iron Maiden. He's going to be the fire guy. And then for me, it was a fun side thing to have. So we all came up with our list of singers that we thought would be a good replacement for it. I think some of mine out of the gate for Frontiers, they thought were a little bit too metal. You know, they like to have the melody in the music, which I get that. I love the melody in the in the heavy metal music too, as long as it doesn't get a little bit too happy. I've always said happy music pisses me off. It's like, I'm not, the happier the songs are, it's like, I liked 80s metal, but I'm not the person that praised the happiest of the metal. I liked Maiden and Priest, and that was probably as happy as I like to get when it got to metal. I really didn't go into the LA style. I mean, that was fun, but the cars, like Paul O'Neill said, the songs about cars and girls is like Savatage. We never really went to that. We always went to a little bit different side of things. So I had originally spoken to like Mark Tornillo from Accept and some other people, and I was even speaking to Mike Howe, and people that I thought would be really good for this, but Frontiers came to me with a different list. And if the first person we tried working with was actually the singer from Riot, and he was on The Voice at the time. So when we started writing, Todd had some cool ideas and it was sounding really good. He was a little bit, actually, in his final version of him, he was less metal than Fabio because his voice is very clean. And he, when he went to do the Spirits of Fire stuff, he wasn't adding rasp into him. He was still being clean. So it sounded really cool, a lot in that kind of Jeff Tate kind of way. But he came to me about 5 months into it. At first he really wasn't able to announce anything he was doing because of the TV show. But then I believe he had his brother may have passed away and he was doing his solo record. And he just said, I really can't put the time into this and I don't want to hold you guys back or not be what you're looking for. So he was a complete gentleman and just came to me and said, hey, I want to get out of here now before I get too far in it and leave you guys hanging. So he left us hanging. But it wasn't a bad hang. We were like, okay, so now we got to find another singer. And Frontiers said, well, how about trying Fabio? And me and Mark and Steve were like, we don't necessarily care who we try. We just want to hear them do something. And we put a lot of trust into Aldo, the producer, to go in and get some stuff done with Fabio. And it was cool. He definitely was somebody I thought, all right, I think this was really going to work. And then when I heard it at the end, he even took it to a different level. I think, like I said, the tone and the way he went metal and it is really awesome, because he has some of his signature stuff on this record, but 90% I think of the vocals on this album are him going into this new world of being this metal guy, which I think is totally awesome. It's something that Paul O'Neill as a producer would find singers that could go that way and like to drag different elements out of their voice. I mean, there was nobody better at that than John Oliva at having different characters and tones inside of their voices, and that's what Fabio had with this. So that whole thing, that whole process was something that it had a couple steps, but the final decision with Fabio was theirs. And I was happy because when Frontiers was listing the countries where the bands were from, and they weren't answering who was singing it, and I think it was probably around September or October. And I had a comment on one of their posts about some of my favorite bands on your label come from different countries. So it was at that point they were laughing because we had not only somebody from a different country, but it happened to be their home country, Italy. So that I was actually really happy about that too, because I like working with Frontiers. They're big fans of the music, and they give a lot of bands opportunities to do things that I think they, not just bands, musicians, that they wouldn't be able to do without them. The business has changed so much that this channel that they have, and I know that they release a lot of different things, but there's a lot of those things that wouldn't even have, people wouldn't have the opportunities without them. So for me, I was just happy to have the Italian producer and the Italian singer, because I just felt like it gave a little bit of a connection, and in a lot of ways I think we're probably one of their only real metal. We're the metal project they have. They have a lot of metal, but it's progressive metal or this kind of metal. We're like the one, I would say, real true metal thing that's there. And now I actually want to go and animate the Fire Spirit guy and do a video. I'm trying to consider which songs. There's 2 songs on the record. My Confession and this one other song, House of Pain, but I think probably leaning towards My Confession that I want to do the animated video for it, because I really think that that would push this. Right now we have, I think it's about 203 or 204,000 views of the second video, which is only in a month, which is crazy. Yeah. We only went to 144,000 for the most on the last record, and that was 3 years ago. So it's in 1 month, and it's still going up, and probably 1,000 views every day. And I think if I was to bring this spirit guy alive, we could maybe get the little battle going between him and Eddie in the metal world. It's like people would ask me. I actually had somebody ask me that in an interview, if there was a fight between Eddie and the fire spirit, who would win? And I'm like, well, first of all, our guy needs a name before he can even be in a competition. So we need to name him. And I don't know who would win. You know, I think Eddie's pretty badass, but the fire spirit, that's why I picked the Spirits of Fire thing when they were asking me which song on the first record would you like to name the band, because they wanted to name the band after a song. Okay. And I was like, well, I think the only song on the record that has a band name is Spirits of Fire. I don't think that you're gonna call a record a game or The Path. I mean, it's like I didn't really see a name there. You know, it's like, even, you know, Come Together, it sounds like a bad porno movie. It's like I was like, all right, well, let's try Spirits of Fire. And then I went searching on the net and found the art. And that's the fire spirit. When I wrote this song too, I wrote it about it. The fire spirit is the most powerful of the good spirits. And I'm kind of a person that, you know, I like positive energy. You know, he's metal looking, but I even know some of my super religious friends were making comments about religion. I'm like, well, don't you realize that you just commented about somebody that the good side of religion hired to fight the worst of the bad demons? So and that's what I liked about this. This fire spirit's a very positive spirit, and it just fits. And I think now that this is in place, and the sound, I think, has really reached the thing, I'll be very inspired to work on another record, you know, because now I think I'll have a real good idea of where to go with it. Not that I didn't for the last one, but I think that it definitely has an identity, and if we could build on it, I think it's something that might be a lot of fun. I think there might be some legs to Spirits of Fire.
Oh, definitely. You know, like I say, it's such a cool, I don't want to use the word throwback, but it's such a great kind of callback to those more fun but definitely metal bands like Priest, like Maiden, like Saxon, you know. And it's great to have a band like Spirits of Fire where I want something heavy, but I don't want to feel miserable. Spirits of Fire.
Exactly. I think that's, like I said, the positive energy that comes out of it. And I'm really happy that I just got a chance to go and be the guitar player too, because when I was doing, like I said, all that other kind of writing, it was just a little bit taking focus away from what I was to put into the music. And even my own solo records, I don't think I put enough time into guitar playing on. So this record, I definitely concentrated on that. I mean, every single song has 6 rhythm guitars. There's 3 on the left and 3 on the right. It's 3 different guitars. That was a lot of time. Some of these runs and riffs, and I'm mentioning like My Confession, those fast runs, those are all 6 different guitars playing things at once, and you have to lock that all in. So it's like I spent a lot of time doing the rhythms and getting this together. But I think the guitar sound is huge. And you know, Aldo, as far as the production of this, he really let me run with my guitars, and because he liked my basic sound. He only really said he threw EQ on it and some effects onto the leads, but the basic sound and everything was me. But he came to me at the end, and I think it was 3 songs, and he was trying to find a way to tell me or ask me, but he was like, I really think that you could do a better lead in these 3 songs. And I listened to it. I'm like, yeah, maybe these do suck. So I went and spent, not just in the leads, I redid the lead guitars for 3 entire songs. And then I actually went and listened to some of the other ones. And it was kind of cool because I found, I think it might've been the House of Pain song. I found a rhythm, a guitar harmony part that I forgot that I had before the chorus. And that was a big thing, but having to go search for that stuff that I discovered that I'd forgotten about it, which is kind of funny. Actually, speaking of forgetting, the In the Rain song I wrote with Lonnie Park, and Lonnie had a vocal idea for the first half of the song, and I'd written the vocals in the middle of the song and the counterpoints, and we pieced the whole song together. And I thought I sent the version with the vocals to Aldo, and I never did. So when I got Fabio's version of the song, I was literally listening to this song that I thought I knew for the very first time another way.
Yeah.
And I loved what he did with the In the Rain and his vocals on that. But when we got to the middle of the song, the part with the counterpoint Savatage like vocal stuff, and it was gone, wasn't there. There was a lot of space with nothing. So I said to Aldo, I'm like, so, okay, that's great. Now this, I like the fact that this is different, but those vocals in the middle, do you still have them? They're coming in. He's like, what vocals? So he had no idea that this part even existed. And Fabio wasn't able to get into the studio. So I actually sang on the record in the parts of the In the Rain song after the second chorus in the middle that are the counterpoints. That's all my vocals, because nobody else had the lyrics or the melodies or a chance to do it. So yeah. I did wind up singing on this record. It was purely by accident, but it's like I did wind up having to sing something.
Yeah, that's cool. Talking about the artwork again, like you say, you found the first one. With this one's really cool. This is awesome, this artwork. Was this another one that you found like by the same artist, or did you contact the artist to?
No, actually Frontiers had this one put together. So
okay,
I sat there waiting anxiously till about, I would say last October, until they sent it to me, you know, and so I hadn't seen it until then. And it was just, it's really cool. It's very, you know, it's very metal. Let's put it that way. But, you know, they had, the original one they had an orange, more orange, bright orange kind of logo on it. And I just asked to put, you know, back a little bit more to the one that was the metallic tinted kind of a version on that, which I like. I like them both. You know, the orange one might work better on shirts for seeing the name in the distance, but I think on the actual record cover, this is a little bit more metal. And we have a really, really awesome vinyl. And this was something I found. I think I have one out of the case, but I was looking through and they said colors, and they were, what kind of vinyl color do you want? Gold, do you want this? And I was searching on vinyl colors, and I saw that there was one that was like fire.
Oh, wow.
So this is an orange vinyl that has like a fire breathing into it. And it's a really cool, it looks better in bright light. I could put a brighter light on this, but it's a really cool orange that kind of burns like a fire. And it's really neat. So that was something that I kind of found when I was searching. I'm like, can we use this one? It's cool.
Awesome. Just finally then, what's the plans for Spirits of Fire going forward? Because obviously the first album came out and then lockdown happened. So nothing really could happen there. With this album, are you hoping to get out onto the road and really sort of bring music to the masses?
It's something we definitely would like to do. It's funny, but I had actually just a couple days ago was talking to Fabio when he saw this single for Into the Mirror go over 200,000 views. We started talking. He's like, you know, we need to play this live. And I think some of his connections in Brazil have already been speaking to him about it. I had, you know, promoter in Greece that came to us about it. I think we're just gonna, for right now, I don't want to go and spend the money and time putting together live performances and then all of a sudden, you know, say we have a month of shows in September, then in September, you know, COVID screw up my life version 19A shows up and everything shuts down and, you know, we lose those dates. So until I'm pretty sure that, you know, things will be stable, being that this is something new, you know, it's not like this is everybody's band where all of our lives are scheduled around this band. And if we cancel, it's easy to put us all back into the same spot. I mean, Steve has Testament, everybody has their things that they're doing. So if we pick dates, it's not going to be really easy to reschedule. So I would rather wait till I could be sure that scheduling something is going to hold. You know, there's going to be no guarantees of that right now, but I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards maybe waiting until 2023 to be sure about it. You know, I've been piecing out the idea of wanting to put us onto something like 70,000 tons of metal, you know, when it comes out, because it would be I think that would be the perfect place to maybe even debut this thing live, you know, is put us out there and do the worldwide live debut of Spirits of Fire on that ship. I think that would be great, because we're definitely not a you know, we're a 70,000 tons cruise.
Oh yeah. Well, it's funny, you know, I was at the last 70,000 tons, and there was a band that debuted there called Archangel.
Yeah, that was Zach's band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and he actually had Aldo, who produced my record, produced that record, and is in the Archangel thing. So that's I wrote a song for Zach's, some music for the new Archangel record. I actually was doing a little bit of writing for some ideas that, you know, me and Oliva and Al Petrelli were doing writing, and we were talking about possibly getting in, because it's always the question I get, what's happening with Savatage? Well, me and John actually did start doing some writing, so I don't know exactly what plans there are, but I know I was writing, so at least that in that way was positive. And I had a song that I wrote that was something I thought that would be good for Zach to sing, because if we do something with Savatage, it would be with Zach and John singing. And John wasn't sure he wanted to use that particular piece. So when Aldo told me he was doing the next Archangel record, I said, you know, I have this song that might be cool for it. So I put in a song to Zach's, and I wrote, I think it was 3 or 4 songs for Zach's first Circle to Circle record, and 3 songs for his second one. So I've written a lot of stuff for Zach before. In particular, he's got a great voice that's easy to write for, because you can, you know, just think melody and Zach will come up with something really cool over it, because he's a great melody writer.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time now, Chris, but thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me. I really do appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. I could ramble all day. I'm just one of those that always has 100 million things to say. And thanks for getting a hold of me. And like I said, I'm really excited for everybody to hear this. I think this record's and everything about it has a lot of legs. So we'll see. I think the metal fans, when they hear this, will be like, wow, this is a cool listen. It's a fun metal record. So
absolutely is. Yeah.
All right, thank you again. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Chris. All the best.
Bye-bye.